Good evening again. Excuse me, members of council. Let's come back from the recess. We have some very patient members of the audience that are here, and they're here regarding item 11.2.4, the Pelham slow roll, and they're quite involved in this. So I would entertain a motion, Councillor King, to move that item up so that we would deal with it initially, seconded by Councillor Papp, that we now deal with 11.2.4, which is the Pelham slow roll report. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. And it has been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved, the council receive the concept paper, as they're called, Pelham's first slow roll, and that the recommendation contained therein be approved as follows: that staff be directed to work with the Pelham Active Transportation Committee to implement the Pelham slow roll, and that staff report to council on the success of the program at the end of the season. Councillor King, can I turn to you?
Sure. To be honest with you, Mr. Mayor, I'm so tired I can't even
It's
think
been a long
straight.
evening. Or do we want to hear from
No,
Ms. Van Ravensway?
We could hear from Miss Ravensway if she would like
tell us
to
the concept.
address it.
Ravensway, just give us the précis, please.
Yes.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Where this initiated, we met with Mr. Swartz and the clerk from the staff met with them from the Active Transportation Committee. And I think by reapplying for our silver or our bike-friendly award, it reminded us of all of the initiatives that we have had in the past and maybe where we could be improving. And we were both thinking the same things. And when we met together and Mr. Swart came up with this wonderful proposal to have what we are going to call Pelham slow roll. There are other initiatives, as in Buffalo and Detroit, that their slow rolls are, they're very well attended. Our slow roll, as indicated in the report, will be basically a bike ride for all, once a month, normally on a Tuesday evening, and it incorporates the businesses, the scenic routes, tells a little bit of history of our community, and with the expertise and that we have on the Active Transportation Committee and the knowledge and so forth, this is what I would call a very easy program to initiate, and it's a cooperative initiative with the resources that we have. And I believe that it would be nothing but wonderful for the community and encourage active cycling throughout.
All right, thank you very much. Councillor King, anything to add?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Others to the motion? Councillor Ribbiak?
Thank you. Just for clarity, what will the town be committed to provide in supporting this? I note that it's really not very much as I read it.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, well, we will assist in facilitating the program. So, for instance, there will be a registration desk, there will be waivers, we will be supplying all that also as they're approved by our legal and insurer as well. There will be, a tent and table set up. We may assist in contacts for the businesses as well, so that after the slow roll, the businesses could expect the cyclists to come in for beverages or food, etc. So we will assist where we need to. We expect our cyclists to be a dozen to 2 dozen. As it grows, we may have to initiate additional resources. And we will be having 4 slow rolls this year. And I would expect that if it is a success, we may need to include some other resources for next year's budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to follow up on that, if I may. So this is staff, this implies a staff involvement. Is there a volunteer base that will be involved with this as well?
Very dedicated volunteer base. I see one of them nodding her head over there.
Okay, I think I have the answer.
Assisting with the program.
Good, excellent. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Kersey and Councillor Durley. Sorry,
Very
Councillor.
quickly, Mr. Mayor. I just wondered, is the bike ride for amateurs, or do you have to be a pretty good bike rider, or can an old guy like me with wobbly knees and a wobbly bike go out and ride, or is it beyond that?
Ms. Van Ravensway?
Slow roll.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this is set up for anyone to be able to ride. It's a slow roll.
Well, I might qualify.
That's right. Correct.
Anything further? Councillor Durley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see this as an excellent opportunity to build upon the silver rating that we have as a bike-friendly. It's a great way also to get community together, people to meet each other and to have some fun. And I'm sure it will gather momentum and become one of the social highlights. And, we can promote the Thursday night thing. Hey, Tuesday, come on back out Thursday. And, this can bring the community together. I see it nothing but positive. Congratulations for the idea and good luck. I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Councillor Durley. I'm going to call the question. Everything's been said, but again, just appreciate those very dedicated volunteers with the ideas. They come forward with this. You think about it, you research it, you put your heart into it. So thank you very much. And we look forward to coming out on one of those. I look forward to coming out on one of those Tuesday nights to give it a try, and seeing. Hopefully, I'll be able to keep up with Councillor Kersey. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion too is carried unanimously. So thank you very much for your work. We look forward to it. Thank you. And thanks for sticking here for the meeting during that long evening. Thank you. Council colleagues, now we need to move back to our regularly scheduled agenda. And if you're noticing staff passing information back and forth here, I've asked them to look at what items can be moved or changed or whatever from the agenda so that we may not have time to do all of it. And we may actually end up not doing committee this evening, but we do have a planning meeting next week that we might add committee to.
Perfect. So
the CAO and the clerk are going back and forth on what items to include in the agenda. But we'll continue here. We do have the motion regarding the adoption of the minutes for council. And it has been moved by Councillor Kersey, second by Councillor Pat. Be it resolved, following minutes be adopted as printed, circulated, and read. Those are the special council minutes of March 20th and the regular council minutes of March 20th, 2017. Are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? There being none, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Now, we do have the consent agenda items. Are there any items to be considered separately? We did lift one item. Are there any other items to be lifted for separate consideration from the consent agenda? Councillor Junkin?
Yes, I'd like to, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to lift 9.3.1.
Sorry, 9.3.1. Okay, so separate action then's being taken?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other items? 9.3.1, which is a Canada Day, is that correct, Councillor?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
All right, thank you. Any other items? All right, it's been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved, the following consent agenda items be received and the recommendations contained therein be approved as applicable. Presentation of recommendations arising from the special committee of the whole meeting of March 22nd, 2017. That was that planning meeting. And then we have minutes of approval of that meeting under the Planning Act of March 22nd, 2017. Ms. Hannah is here this evening. I want to commend her for that meeting. Thank you very much. 931 has been lifted, so we do have 932, the Christmas in Pelham final report, and the recommendation is to receive, along with a statement of council and board remuneration to receive. Then we have action correspondence of routine nature, an item from the Pelham Art Festival, and a request for community event status. And the recommendation be it resolved that council receive the correspondence dated March 22nd from the Pelham Art Festival, Inc., and that the community events status be received and the festival outlined therein be and a hereby designated community event of municipal significance, and the clerk be directed to advise the Pelham Art Festival representatives. The second item is the Pelham Canada Heritage Canada Day Grant Award. Be it resolved the council receive the correspondence from the Regional Director General Canada Heritage regarding the approval of a grant in the amount of $12,500 from the Celebration and Commemoration Program to assist with Canada Day celebrations. We have the resolution that we dealt with already, so now we have responses to the Town of Pelham motion regarding NPCA appointments. They're under 953, and the motion is to receive them. Then we have an action item from the Niagara region, it's 961, and that's requesting support for an intermunicipal passenger transportation system. And the motion be it resolved that Pelham Council receive the correspondence dated March 27th from the Niagara region regarding the request to support creation of a regional consolidated public transit system. The Council of the Town of Pelham consents to the passage of the bylaw from the Regional Municipality of Niagara, being a bylaw to provide Niagara region with the non-exclusive authority to establish, operate, and maintain an intermunicipal passenger transportation system for the Niagara region, and the clerk be directed to so advise the regional clerk no later than May 31st, 2017. We have committee minutes for information, the Library Board minutes of February 22nd, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council minutes of November 22nd, the library is February 22nd, the MEAC is November 22nd, and December 20th, and January 24th. We have the Oversight Committee minutes of February 8th and 27th, and the Pelham Active Transportation Committee minutes of February 28th. Questions or comments on any of those items? I do just want to speak very briefly about the Niagara Regional request for intermunicipal transportation. It was a bit odd, Councillor Papp, because the motion they used and the resolution they used, they copied from the specialized intermunicipal transit, which was a full and complete upload. And I, through questioning and working with staff, I said, do you really want to upload the whole thing? And that means that the city of Welland, for instance, wouldn't be able to go through the city of Welland, city of Thorold, and go to city of St. Catharines. Oh, no, that's not what we thought. So that's where the word non-exclusive authority, so that it would be actually, we talked about spheres of influence earlier, it would actually be something that would be allowed by not only the local municipalities as it is now, but also the region, but it would be a joint spheres of influence. So that's what's being recommended there. And I think those are all the items that I wanted to comment on. Anything further from members of council? Are we ready for calling the question? I will. Oh, Councillor Ribiak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just looking at the report from the Oversight Committee. These minutes are from February 14th. Of course, a lot of water has flowed under the bridge since then. And I'm particularly thinking of the discussion we had about the 9,000 square feet and what the financing is going to be. I'm wondering whether that's going to be addressed by the Oversight Committee in any of the notes that they pass forward. How it's going to be, where it was, what it looks like, what it's going to be, how it's going to be paid for, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you. The CAO is anxious to respond, and then maybe we'll turn to Councillor Kersey if warranted. Mr. CAO?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the interest of time, I will say that I had added some information on my monthly report that shows, illustrates where that space is and what it's for. And I know that my participation in the oversight meeting, certainly they will be making a comment and note of that at their next presentation to council. So
Excellent. Works for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kersey, anything?
I guess it's safe to say that our contractor, our project manager, has agreed to provide those additional 9,000 square feet in the budget that this council has approved. And so they are working diligently to find efficiencies within the design such that the expense to cover that 9,000 square feet will be absorbed. So to date, we've not heard anything that, to the contrary. They are working with the architect to identify those efficiencies, hence some delay in getting the tender package number 2 out. But I understand it's out the door now. And and the delay was essentially because you're trying to work with the architect and suggest design changes, et cetera, et cetera. Tender package number 2 will cover the enclosure of the building and some work on the interior and all of that. So that will be a big package to come back and review. And we'll have a much better sense of where we are in the whole scheme of things at that point. So I think the Oversight Committee is planning to come forward, I believe they said May, I think, was the last I heard. By then, we'll have the tender package number 2 results. The contracts will have been awarded. We'll have a much better sense of where we are on the scheduling, et cetera, et cetera. So it'll be a fulsome report at that point.
Perfect, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else to that? I would just like to add that it was actually, my understanding is that it was Ball Construction that suggested the additional square feet in the way that they suggested, or the configuration of the square feet. Some of it may be additional, some may not, but based on their experience in building 30 some odd facilities across the province. So they were just essentially saying this would be better and better to do it now than not have this building function properly. So I hope perhaps when that information comes out that's underscored as well.
Yeah.
So. Anyone else on any of the items under consent? All right, thank you very much. So I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Councillor Junkin, you did lift an item here regarding the Canada Day 2017. The resolution moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley. Be it resolved, the council declare Pelham's 2017 Canada Day celebration a municipally significant event, and the council authorize the clerk to make application for a special occasion permit for Pelham's Canada Day celebrations on Saturday, July 1st, 2017, and Sunday, July 2nd, 2017. Councillor.
My mistake, Mr. Mayor. It was indeed 9.3.1, but it had to do, and it is with Canada Day, but it is with the Harold Black Park proposed license area, the one right above that. Okay?
It's involved, no, it's involved in that motion.
Yeah.
It's the second clause of the motion, Councillor,
Okay.
regarding the special occasions permit.
Oh, okay.
So you are correct. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just, I wasn't at the last Canada Day celebration, so through you, Mr. Mayor, to the Recreation Director, you mentioned in the report that the sales were, I think, disappointing, if I got the right word right. So I'm wondering, and I suppose that you want to take another kick at the can, but I guess maybe, I don't know, I'm not opposed to alcohol by any means, and I know we've had this same argument that I don't really want to get into with the ban shell thing, but I'm just wondering if indeed the sales don't materialize this year, I'm wondering if maybe we can, would it be considered just to do away with the alcohol at Canada Day? Well, what's your thoughts on that?
Van Ravensway?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there's a couple of reasons why we have incorporated the sale of alcohol in the park. Number one, the committee, the volunteers that have worked on Canada Day for years have always asked for that. And secondly, we tend to have a lot of people enjoy bringing their own, if you want to call it that. It's very difficult to police when you don't have a confined area. This way, we are giving the opportunity for anyone that wish, have a beverage, an area, it's legal, we're legal, our liability is less. We check the bags as they come in, but we know that there's a lot out there, especially when it's not available. This way, we're able to offer it in a confined space, and we lessen our liability. Last year, I don't know if you recall, a cold front moved in, and we froze. And as well, it rained off and on, so the actual weather was a real deterrent. So, and again, we will try it again this year, and, you know, if the weather is awesome and still sales are low, we may have to look at different ways of trying to lessen our liability.
One more question?
Go ahead, Counselor.
So if I understand you correctly, then by having a licensed area, and if someone does bring their own in, then it's good that they're drinking in a licensed area, or is that two separate things? Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no. By giving, they're not allowed to bring alcohol in. So
okay.
by offering it,
Yes.
it will deter them
Yes,
from
okay.
bringing it in,
Okay, I see, okay.
okay, which will give them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will it also make enforcement, one can be slightly stronger on enforcement?
Yes,
Yeah.
as well.
think that's
And
what
we will
getting
give,
to.
have that opportunity.
Yeah.
The other thing, just so the council understands, we are requesting Saturday, July the 1st, and Sunday, July the 2nd, only as a rain date. It's not a 2-day event.
Oh, I see, yeah,
But we need to have a rain
Oh,
date,
I see.
because with the fireworks, we have to set them off.
okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
Great. Any other, thank you, Counselor. Any other questions for the Director? Okay, so Counselor, we'll call, there's no amendments to the motion, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, Council colleague. I did, I think we move into reports. I did put it on your desk, a report. The only item that I do want to highlight is on the back, well, two items. On the back page, the Canada Summer Games 2021 announcement, which occurred on March 30th, 2017. Just congratulations to all involved. And special congratulations to Doug Hamilton, the bid committee chair. He's there in the photo. A huge team effort across Niagara, including involvement from this community. And thanks especially to Steve Bauer, working together with very dedicated staff for putting together a road race portion in Pelham, which will end at the new Pelham Community Center. We just look forward to this event, and no doubt it'll be a very exciting time in Niagara. And the second item, just pleased to join Andrew Foster from the Niagara chapter of Autism Ontario this morning to raise the flag for autism. It's an important thing that we've done in the past, and encourage folks to think about autism a little bit this week, and those that you may know that might be affected by that disorder. I believe the stats are 1 in 94 Canadians have autism in one way or another, and so it's a good way to think about that. And I believe the arches were illuminated a special color, the blue color that they have last night as a result of International Autism Awareness Day. That is my report, and it has been moved by, and I greatly appreciate it, Councillor Papp, seconded by Councillor Curley. Be it a Kersey, sorry, I don't know where that came from. Be resolved that my report dated, getting punchy a little late in the evening, April 3rd, 2017, be received for information. All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we're very close to curfew. Mr. CAO, do you have a recommendation regarding the remainder of the agenda? I understand there is an in-camera item, and that I propose that we put off the committee of the whole portion until next Monday when we have planning. Mr. CAO?
Correct, Mr. Mayor. I was just communicating with the clerk about this. In light of the seriousness of the majority of the meeting, it would to me, be recommended that the meeting be officially adjourned so that you can pass a confirming bylaw that legitimizes everything you've said. Now, if you do that, the remaining items, presuming you continue the meeting tonight, or if you defer them, they would have to go as part of a special meeting, and that would also include the in-camera items. So you could call that special meeting some other time, or you could simply pick this up at a later, pick up the remaining items at a later date for, I forget the next council meeting in April.
So just for clarity, what you're proposing, I think we can get through the rest of the agenda, except for the in-camera item. So what I'd recommend is when we get to the in-camera item, that we just refer it to a special meeting and deal with it then.
And then
that way we would have the confirming bylaw. Is that okay?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there are some, on the one bylaw for part lot control especially, there are some real estate closings that are depending on the passage of the bylaw.
So that's probably the best way to do it. That we would, okay, so I need a motion to extend curfew, moved by Councillor Papp, seconded by Councillor Kersey. That the rules of procedure contained in the Town of Pelham Procedure Bylaw be suspended, and the curfew time of 10 p.m. be and is hereby waived, and the remainder of the business listed on the agenda of this meeting continued to be considered until all matters have been concluded. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. And what I'd recommend is when we get to that item that we might just say refer it or postpone it to another separate meeting. That's what I'd say. Is that allowable? Anyways, we'll see what the clerk
Yes,
says.
In camera, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can,
Okay.
you can defer it to the next regular council meeting, Mr. Mayor, or you could set up a special meeting if
Okay.
you wanted to
Yeah.
deal with
Right.
it before that.
Okay.
Okay.
It's been moved by Councillor Junkin, seconded by Councillor Kersey. The 1120 Hay Street Community Design Charrette Terms of Reference. Be it resolved, the council receive the Community Planning and Development Report when recommendations contained therein be approved as follows. The council approve the terms of reference for Community Design Charrette for the Pelham Arena lands known as 1120 Hay Street, attached to this report, and that staff be directed to proceed with obtaining proposals from consultants for undertaking the community design charrette for the Pelham Arena lands. Comments, questions? Councillor Papp, Junkin?
Oh, just quickly, let's move on it. We promised the residents we would do something. Let's move on it as quickly as possible.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councillor Junkin, then Councillor Kersey.
I'm just a little concerned about this. If we do take this out to the community and we get a proposal, let's say they don't come back with exactly what we want. I guess each proposal could be massaged and we would put our stamp somewhat on it. Here's what I'll tell you what I'm thinking. And then you can guys go. I've talked with other councilors. This property is the last big piece of property that we have in town. It's 8.3 acres. It's our property. So, and I realize we got a heck of a lot on our plate down there in East Fond Hill. All over the town, we've got a lot on our plate. But if it's within our if we can indeed, if it's in our power to do this, I'd like to see if somehow or other, either through us, taking the bull by the horns and developing this property in the way we want, and possibly turning it into assisted senior living. Now, whether we can get developers to pair with us, that's fine. But this is our last chance to do anything with seniors living in the town, because we don't have any property that's big for like this. And I know I've talked to a few of the people in the community, and every time I mention it, they, oh wow, they jump up and down, sign me up for the building. So I guess should we discuss the charrette from the community, or should we do something and propose it to the community and go from there? I guess that's my question. I don't know,
Okay.
the horse before the horse, or the cart
Yeah.
before the horse, or whatever it is.
Let's hear from the CAO. Mr.
Yeah, thank you,
CAO.
Mr. Mayor. I think the point is well taken that the use of the area still needs to be hashed out, and if it's council's desire to embark on a assisted living or seniors living project, then that's council's desire. That's certainly within the council's jurisdiction. What the charrette would do, and what we're hoping to proceed with, is the sort of the overall layout of that land and what would go where. And the concerns of residents obviously is maintaining an element of the park. You know, so how does that element of the park get fit in? So it's really just kind of doing a site plan. Once that's been nailed down and you've got sort of a vision for what this area would look like if it was built out, and it could include some higher density components, there's no doubt to that, then council can then say, okay, well, we want the emphasis here, if we're going to proceed with this, that if we're going to dispose of this this land, it would be for this intended use, and it would be not unsimilar to what council has done with the medical center, the retirement home, etc., in the East Fun Hill land. So it would be completely within your realm of jurisdiction. But it would be a conversation I think that you would want to have once you had an idea of where everything was going to go, and then once you had some input and some, hopefully some buy-in from the people that would be affected by those changes, that would be the good time to discuss it.
Okay. Let me push the point further with the CAO, if I might, Councillor. The councillor's suggestion, could that be included in the charrette process? So for instance, the councillor could raise it, other members of the community could say, yeah, that's where we want to go, and you draw it. Is that what you're saying in essence?
You could certainly do it during the charrette process if you wanted to push it then, as an idea or as a concept or as a use. For the charrette, though, it would probably be easier to say that, you know, the council would like to see some higher density. So you may, instead of saying or a assisted living seniors home in the site plan, you may say we may want to, you know, a 5 or 6 story building or something. You know, that would articulate what that would look like in the context of the plan, and then the use would be determined by council to say, okay, well, we've approved this, you know, the structure would be suitable for this use, so let's see if there's interest in the market, and that's how you would sort of proceed, like, again, not unsimilar to what we've done in East Fun Hill.
Okay, thank you. Councillor?
No, that's fine, as long as we don't exclude it.
Right.
Like I say, I didn't know, I couldn't recognize the horse from the cart, so, and I think that's a great idea, that if we put that out, that this is one of our ideas, and that's doesn't let the community walk with it or run with it, then yeah, that might help the situation. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you. I do have Councillor Kersey and then Councillor Durley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Junkin touched on some of the things that I was thinking. I wondered, by going through the charrette process, is council committed to the end result of that charrette? Or do we have an input on the guidelines? You know, the people around that area may say during the charrette, we want the whole thing to be a public park. But I don't think that that's necessarily within the best interest of the community or what we have. So I just wondered how much influence council would have on that, or how the public would be informed as to the responsibility of council to adopt whatever comes out of that charrette as a fait accompli.
Thank you, Mr. Seow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To respond to the councillor, I think that the charrette really is, again, designed for everybody to participate, and it's not unlike creative problem solving, where you want to make sure you have the right people in the room, and the right people would include members of council,
Okay,
of course.
that's
So
fine.
I think that members of council participation in the charrette is important, just as much as it is, you know, the person that lives near the park or the person that might live a block from the park. So again, the idea of a charrette is to get everybody, get all the right people in the room that have comment or have a concern or have, you know, ideas, and take all of that to develop, again, within the sort of parameters of what council said, is that this land will be disposed, or this land potentially could be disposed of. If we dispose of it, what is it we want to see built, and how would it function, and what would it do? And certainly that's going to inform the charrette process, because, you know, there's different uses, obviously will have different impacts on that neighborhood. And I think a lot of that stuff can be worked through in collaboration with the community, so that you have a product at the end that everyone agrees to before it comes to council. Now, having said that, if for some reason the charrette comes back and says that it needs to be, you know, that whole site needs to be a cornfield or a 14-story building, council, of course, has the authority to say, no, that's not an appropriate use. We're not going to abide by that. But again, I would be surprised if it came to that point, because of the very nature of the charrette process and why we're doing it. So, of course, council in this area has ultimate jurisdiction to accept or not to accept the recommendations of the charrette.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Durley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and a lot of what I was going to say has already been said. My phone has been ringing and my email has been open from residents around the area having different suggestions, and these people definitely should be included. Their input is very important. They will have some good ideas. They will have some ideas that other people may not think are so good. However, we need to look at everything possible and just to come up with the best possible thing for this town, not for any one individual, and I think it's very important. I think this charrette is an excellent way to get everybody involved, and I compliment you on starting that process. And I think that once the process takes place, the people participating in it will see that there is a diverse mindset around there to say, okay, this is good, this isn't good, but the person that might think this isn't good right now may think something else is a little better. So, it's a good way to get the thoughts out and to have people compare their ideas, and I'm sure positive things will come out of it. So, like I say, just building upon some of the things that have already been said, and there are certainly endless opportunities as to what can happen in that land. We want to find the best one, and that's exactly where we should go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any others? Going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We look forward to that process starting and that request for proposals coming to us with a schedule. It's been moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Ribbiak. Be it resolved, the council received the report Final Design Canada 150 Mural Mosaic, and the council approved the proposed mural design presented in the report, which is a rendition of the Comfort Maple. After going out to the community. Questions, comments? Councillor Durley?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the report, it mentioned the possibility of putting the town logo and other things in there. As I look at that card, I think the wheels there would be an excellent opportunity to put the Pelham logo and a Canadian flag in there, because this is Canada's 150, and this is the town of Pelham, and the Comfort Maple is the highlighted feature. But with four wheels there, we can have one town logo and one Canadian flag on each of the front and the back wheels, and I think that would just highlight it all and let everybody remember that the town of Pelham did something for Canada's 150th.
Thank you.
Suggestion.
All right. Can we keep that as a staff direction? Ms. Van Ravensway gave it the thumbs up, so others? Thank you, Councillor Durley, for that, and we hope the staff can fulfill that. Going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried, and we look forward to this process. I think it's in early June, June 8th, 9th. Is that what it is that this will occur? That's great. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ribbiak, seconded by Councillor King. Be it resolved, the council designate Pelham Summerfest 2017 as a municipally significant event. The clerk be authorized to make application for special occasion permit for Summerfest Thursday, July 13th, Friday the 14th, Saturday the 15th, and Sunday the 16th. Council authorized the variance of the Town of Pelham bylaw, being a bylaw to regulate control noise, for venues conducted as part of the event from 4 p.m. on Friday until 1 a.m. on Sunday, July 16, 2017. Council authorized the following road closures. Town of Pelham Town Square from the rear entrance to the Fonthill Plaza to 60 meters west from 4 p.m. Thursday, July 13th to 10 p.m. the same day, and Pelham Town Square off Pelham Street from 7 a.m. Friday, July 14th to noon Monday, July 17th. Oh my goodness, okay. And Pelham Street from Regional Road 20 to South Property Line 1419 Pelham Street, 7 a.m. Friday to 1 a.m. and on Sunday to 1 a.m. on Sunday, July 16th. Pelham Street from the South Property Line of 1419 Pelham Street to College Street from 7 a.m. Saturday to 6 p.m. on the same day. And Pelham Town Square from 150 meter west of Station Street to its termination at the Fonthill Plaza entrance from 7 a.m. Sunday, July 16th to 5 p.m. on the same day. The latter is for the car show. Comments, questions? Councillor Kersey?
Very briefly, Mr. Mayor, just to inform council that Summerfest Committee, being the responsible and responsive people that they are, these road closures reflect the discussions we've had with the businesses and afford accessibility to those businesses that we're concerned with that.
That's great.
Among other measures that we will take, we believe we've addressed all the concerns that were put forward. This is certainly a first step.
Thank you very much for informing council of that, and thanks for your work. Going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion's carried, and we look forward to this wonderful event in July. It might be before the end of this meeting. It's been moved by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor King. Be it resolved, the council received the Department of Community Planning and Development report for information as it pertains to part of Block 13, 59M406, depicted as parts 1 to 12 on 59R15803, municipally known as 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and 26 Braden Way, and the council considers approving part lock control exemption bylaw for those areas known municipally as 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and 26 Braden Way. Questions or comments? I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, now to consideration of bylaws. It's been moved by Councillor Papp, seconded by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved, the Council of the Town of Pelham, having given due consideration to the following bylaws, do now read a first, second, and third time and do pass the same, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to sign and seal the following bylaws. Bylaw number 3857, being a bylaw to exempt part of Block 13, Plan 59M406, from part lock control, and that's Ryan's Grove subdivision, which is Lucetta Construction Limited. Bylaw 3858, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 3646 from 2015, being a bylaw to authorizing an agreement with Sharp Bus Lines Limited for the provision of Pelham Transit Service, Transcab service, and a shuttle service within the town of Pelham by repealing and replacing Schedule A to the bylaw with Schedule A appended hereto. And bylaw 3859, being a bylaw to appoint members of the town of Pelham Emergency Management Program Committee and to name the committee chair. Questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Is that the right bylaw? Was it Braden's Way?
We have to defer, don't we have to defer this?
Yeah.
We need a motion.
Just a question regarding, for our planner, regarding that bylaw. The one was here regarding Hugo Lucetta, and yet the report was dealing with Braden's Way. Oh, that's the name of it, right?
The name of
Okay,
the-
sorry. Thought it was the Wheeling Heights one. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. A motion to, I believe regarding the in-camera portion, that we refer it to as a meeting of council, next meeting of council. So I think it's the best way to deal with it, and it could be a special meeting, or it could be the subsequent meeting of council. We could call a special meeting on the 10th, or it could be on the 18th. Okay?
A future meeting of
A future meeting of council?
If you say the next regular meeting
Right.
is the 18th.
Refer to a future council meeting. How's that sound? So Councillor Papp will move that. Councillor Durley will second that. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. And that was referred. And now it's now it's been moved by, we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's been moved by how many of these resolutions are there? Here we are. It's been moved by Councillor Ribbiak, second by Councillor King. Be it resolved, the following bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and passed, and that's being bylaw number 3860 to adopt, ratify, confirm the proceedings of council of the town of Pelham at its regular meeting held on the 3rd day of April 2017. Going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. Finally, it has been moved by Councillor Papp, second by Councillor Kersey. Be it resolved, this regular meeting of council be adjourned until the next regular meeting scheduled for April 18th, 2017. That's the Tuesday because of the Easter holiday at 6:30 PM. All those in favor? Any opposed? That motion is carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your patience.